Another video looked like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her infamous 22 number to a new.
Another video is circulating, and it claims Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to abandon her iconic number 22 for an entirely different jersey number. Team USA has reportedly made a decision that has set the entire basketball world on fire, and honestly, people have every reason to be furious. Imagine this. They're not politely asking. They're allegedly forcing Caitlin Clark to give up the legendary number 22. This is the number that defines her. The number she wore throughout her historic college run and during her explosive beginning in the WNBA. And the backlash is absolutely brutal. Fans, analysts, and players alike are coming from every direction. Now it's starting to look like Team USA may finally be realizing they've stepped straight into one of the biggest controversies women's basketball has seen in years. Before we break down this chaos,
because we ultimately know she was snubbed from the cover of Team USA. And not only is they snubbing her, the disrespect is continuing because it's looking like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her number. Now, this article has come out.
Should Caitlin have automatically been allowed to keep her iconic number 22? Or is this simply how Team USA has always operated? Strict rules, seniority, and rigid protocol above all else. Because once you hear what I'm about to explain, your entire perspective may change. The official announcement has now been released, and honestly, it's astonishing in the worst way. We need to fully unpack what just happened here, because this is one of those moments where you have to wonder if anyone in a decision-making position at Team USA stopped to think through the consequences. We are talking about Caitlin Clark, the undisputed face of women's basketball right now. A once-in-a-generation superstar who brought millions of new eyes, fans, and revenue to the sport is being forced to give up her number for a single Team USA training camp. Let that sink in. This wasn't a suggestion, it wasn't a discussion, and it certainly wasn't optional, it was mandatory. And the replacement number they assigned her? Number 7. A move that feels less like tradition and more like...
Yeah, honestly, I'm not a very creative person. I was born on January 22nd, so it's what I went with when I was about 5 years old, so...
Yes, you heard that right. 17. A number that carries absolutely no significance for her millions of fans, or for the historic legacy she is actively building before our very eyes. But before we go any further, we need to pause and address something critically important. Something that has somehow been completely overlooked. Caitlin Clark's number 22 is not just a jersey number. It is a global identity. It is a brand. It is a defining symbol of who she is as an athlete and as a cultural force. It's the number she wore when she broke Pete Maravich's all-time college scoring record, a moment that transcended basketball itself. It's the number she wore while carrying Iowa to back-to-back national championship games, capturing the attention of the entire nation. It's the number she wore throughout her college career as she evolved from an elite talent into a generational superstar. And it's the same number she proudly wears today with the Indiana Fever, where she continues to dominate and pack arenas at the professional level. Number 22 has become instantly iconic in women's basketball, just as number 23 became legendary in men's basketball because of Michael Jordan. When you see a 22 on a women's jersey, there is no hesitation. Your mind immediately goes to Caitlin Clark. That is no longer opinion. That is reality. Yet somehow, Team USA either missed that message entirely or worse, they understood it perfectly and simply chose to ignore it. Because when the official roster for the December training camp was released, there it was in plain sight for everyone to see. Caitlin Clark listed as number 7. Not 22, 7. Predictably, the basketball world erupted. But this is where the situation stops being questionable and becomes downright baffling. When you take a closer look at the full training camp roster, something stands out immediately. Guess what's missing? No one is wearing number 22. The number is completely available, sitting there unused. This wasn't a case where Aya Wilson or another star already had it, forcing a difficult decision between two icons. No conflict, no obstacle, just a choice that
to be made that Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark, number 22, is the most recognizable number in women's sports right now. There's no argument to be made. There's no case to be made. Caitlin Clark, number 22, is the most recognizable number.
It's not like there was some legendary, long-tenured Team USA veteran who wore number 22 for years and earned unquestioned priority. That number wasn't sacred. It wasn't retired. It wasn't even in use. It was just sitting there. And yet, Caitlin was still told she had to change. Make that make sense. Seriously, try. I'll wait. The only remotely logical explanation anyone can come up with is that Team USA follows some rigid, outdated policy on jersey assignments tied to seniority or previous involvement with the program. A cold, bureaucratic rulebook that elevates meaningless tradition over common sense and cultural relevance. And that kind of thinking is exactly what gets major organizations into serious trouble with their fans. Because while they sit in conference rooms applauding themselves for following procedure, they are completely missing the bigger, far more important picture of what Caitlin Clark represents for the game and where it's headed. Now let's talk about public perception for a moment, because it's terrible. This is the same Team USA that controversially left Caitlin off the Olympic roster earlier this year. The same organization that tried to justify the decision by claiming they were prioritizing experience and veteran leadership, while the entire basketball world watched in disbelief as the most popular, impactful, and influential player in the sport.
Caitlin Clark to wear number 17 at Team USA training camp. On December 24th, news broke that Caitlin Clark will be taking a part in the training, which that's what we talked about at the beginning of the video. Now, this right here this came out this came out on the 24th. So these are the numbers, man. Head on over to Twitter and check this out real quick. So this is what was released right here. It says Lauren Betts. Hold on, here's the ages. Where's the number? Here we go, right here. So these are the numbers. Caitlin Clark. Let me blow this all the way up, man. I want to blow this all the way up so y'all can see this. So as y'all can see there, man, how did Caitlin Clark number will be changed? So who's wearing 22? Or if you guys remember, Michael Jordan wore number 45 in the Olympics. Caitlin, because it don't look like no one's wearing number 22. It don't look like no one's wearing.
And now, when she is finally welcomed into the system for a Team USA training camp, the very first move they make is stripping her of her signature jersey number. Yes, that is not a good look. In fact, it's an awful look. It's the kind of decision that convinces people Team USA either doesn't understand Caitlin Clark's importance to the sport at all, or even worse, understands it perfectly and is intentionally downplaying it. Because here is the uncomfortable reality that Team USA appears to be ignoring. Right now, Caitlin Clark carries more cultural weight than Team USA itself. That's not meant to disrespect the legendary history of the program or the incredible athletes who have represented the red, white, and blue. It's simply an acknowledgement of the undeniable, game-changing impact Caitlin Clark has had on women's basketball over the past few years. She has brought millions of new fans into the sport. She has filled arenas that used to sit half empty. She has turned women's college basketball and the WNBA into appointment television for an entirely new generation of viewers. And a massive part of that identity, the brand that drives all of this attention, is her number. So when Team USA forces her to change that number, even if it's only for a training camp, they're sending a clear message to the fans she brought with her. That message is that their connection to Caitlin doesn't matter. That the brand she has built doesn't matter. That the identity she forged doesn't matter, because Team USA has policies, and policies must be followed, even when they make absolutely no sense in a unique situation like this. And let's be honest about another major factor here. This decision isn't just about Caitlin Clark's feelings or personal branding. This is about the commercial growth of women's basketball. Whether Team USA wants to admit it or not, a Caitlin Clark Team USA jersey with number 22 would sell at an absurd rate. Parents would line up to buy them for their daughters. Fans would want that jersey as a collector's item linking her legendary college and WNBA career to her international journey. But Caitlin Clark wearing number 17? That only creates confusion. It creates a pointless disconnect between the player fans know and love and the uniform she's wearing. And that disconnect will cost Team USA money, if not immediately, then inevitably. Some will argue this is just how international basketball works, that FIBA has rules, that Team USA has traditions, that no individual player should be bigger than the team, and under normal circumstances that argument might hold some weight. But these are not normal circumstances. Caitlin Clark is not a normal player. She is a once-in-a-generation figure who has permanently reshaped women's basketball. She has generated unprecedented attention, revenue, and visibility for the sport. And like it or not, she is the face of women's basketball in America right now. The public reaction proves this point. The moment the roster with updated jersey numbers was released, social media exploded. Fans were furious. Analysts were confused. Even people who don't normally follow women's basketball were questioning how such a decision could be made. From the outside, it looks like Team USA is actively creating obstacles for the biggest star the sport has ever seen. What makes this even more frustrating is that Team USA had an opportunity to handle this perfectly. After the Olympic snub, they could have shown they understood Caitlin's value. They could have made her training camp invitation a moment. They could have shown respect. They could have let her wear the number synonymous with her name. Instead, they did the opposite. They treated her like just another player, rigidly enforced policies without context, and created another avoidable controversy that makes them appear disconnected from reality. And here's what Team USA may not fully appreciate. This December training camp will receive enormous media coverage, not because of the camp itself, but because Caitlin Clark will be there. Every reporter will ask about the number change. Every article will mention it. Every headline will note that Caitlin Clark was forced to give up her iconic 22. That's not the narrative Team USA wants, but it's the one they created. You also have to consider what's happening behind the scenes. Caitlin may be a professional and a team player, but it's hard to believe she's happy about this. It's even harder to believe her agent is, or her sponsors who have invested millions into a brand built around that number. This kind of decision creates unnecessary tension and resentment. And what about the other players? No one wants to be the person who causes drama over a jersey number. But if you're a veteran watching the organization alienate the biggest star in the game over something so trivial, you have to wonder if this is really the battle worth fighting. Because every player benefits from Caitlin Clark's popularity. A rising tide lifts all boats, and Caitlin Clark is the biggest tide women's basketball has ever seen. Some have pointed to Aya Wilson, who also wears number 22, as justification. And if Aya were on this roster, that argument might at least be understandable due to her seniority. But she isn't even at this camp, which makes that explanation completely irrelevant. What this situation really exposes is either a shocking lack of awareness or a troubling level of pettiness in how Team USA handles a generational talent. Calling this instant regret isn't exaggeration. The backlash has already begun, and the camp hasn't even started. This camp should be celebrating the future of USA basketball, showcasing stars like Caitlin Clark, Juju Watkins, and Paige Buchers. Instead, it will be remembered for a controversy that never needed to exist. At some point, organizations must realize that following internal rules doesn't always mean making the right decision. Forcing Caitlin Clark into number 17 is the wrong move by every metric that matters. So yes, Team USA is already feeling the consequences, and they should. They chose bureaucracy over common sense, and now they're paying the price. That's the story. Team USA made Caitlin Clark give up her legendary 22 for number 17, and the basketball world is not buying it. Was this decision justified? Or is Team USA completely missing the point? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown of Team USA's latest misstep, hit that like button, subscribe for more basketball content, and I'll catch you in the next one.